Good morning, students. In today's class, we are going to see the following topics, that is array of 2-point sources with unequal amplitude and any phase, multiplication pattern, array with non-uniform amplitude, for which an example that we are going to consider is binomial array. So array of 2-point sources with unequal amplitude and any phase. So consider the diagram in which we have 2-point sources with unequal amplitude. So when the amplitude is going to be unequal, then it can have any phase difference between them. So let us assume that the field of the source 1 at the distant point P is E1 and the field of the source 2 at the distant point P is E2, and let us also assume that E1 is greater than E2. So in the second diagram we have the phasor diagram of the electric field E1, E2 and the phase difference psi between them. So the total phase difference between the radiation of the two sources at the point P, we know it is given by psi, where psi is 2 pi by lambda d cos theta plus alpha, where alpha is the phase angle between by which the current I1 and I2 is varying. So basically the current I2 of source 2 will lead the current I1 of the source 1. And we can also write the expression for psi as psi is equal to beta d cos theta plus alpha, where beta is equal to 2 pi by lambda. So the phase angle alpha can take either a value 0 or 180 degree. And if the value of the amplitude E1, E2 is going to be a constant equal to E0, then this expression will correspond to the first two categories of the array that we have already seen, which is broadside array or end-fire array. Now in this case we are assuming that the amplitudes are different. So what will be the total field at the distant point P? It is given by E, where E is equal to E1 exponential J0 plus E2 exponential J psi. You can take E1 as common outside, so E power J0, exponential of 0 is 1, so we get E1 into 1 plus E2 by E1 exponential J psi. K ranges between 0 to 1 and K will be equal to the ratios of the field, which is E2 by E1, and we have already assumed E1 is greater than E2. So by taking the magnitude modulus, we have the total field E is equal to magnitude of E1, 1 plus cos k cos psi plus j sin psi, which is equal to E1 square root of 1 plus k cos psi the whole square plus j sin psi the whole square angle phi, where this parameter phi is the total phase angle at the distant point P, which will be equal to arc tan of k sin psi by 1 plus k cos psi. So if E1 and E2 are equal, then this parameter k will be equal to 1. Non-isotropic but similar point sources. So non-isotropic provided their field pattern are similar to that of isotropic points. So till now we have considered only isotropic point sources which is going to radiate uniformly in all directions. So the field pattern of the non-isotropic must have same shape and orientation. It is not necessary that the amplitude of the individual non-isotropic sources have to be equal. So such an isotropic source is given the name non-isotropic but similar point source. Suppose if the amplitude is going to be same, then the sources would be non-isotropic but identical. So consider this diagram where we have two point sources kept at a distance d, and we are imposing two short dipoles also at the same point. So this will lead to a concept called as pattern multiplication, where we are going to find the total field radiated by all these four parameters, that is 2 point sources as well as the two short dipoles. So let us consider the two short dipoles which are superimposed over two isotropic point sources and they are separated by a distance d. Let the field pattern of each isotropic point source be E0, which is equal to E1 sin theta. So it is possible to obtain the pattern from a short dipole since both are superimposed with respect to the origin. So the field pattern of the two identical isotropic sources is given by E is equal to 2 E naught cos psi by 2, which we already know. This is the total field of two identical isotropic sources. Now using this and the above expression, we are trying to find what is the total field radiated by the combination of all these four. In the above expression, we know that the phase angle psi is equal to beta d cos theta plus alpha, where beta is 2 pi by lambda. So combining the above expression of the field equation of isotropic source and the short dipole antenna, we get the total field E is equal to 2E1 sin theta cos psi by 2. So the normal value of the total electric field E will be equal to sin theta into cos psi by 2. So which can be written as pattern of the individual isotropic source, which is sin theta, multiplied by the pattern of the array of two isotropic point sources, which is the cos psi by 2. So this is giving or leading us to a concept called as pattern multiplication. So using this pattern multiplication, you can easily calculate the total field of the components present in an antenna array. So basically we will be multiplying the fields of individual isotropic sources, and the phase angle will be added. So pattern multiplication or multiplication pattern. So the total field pattern of an array of non-isotropic but similar sources is multiplication of the individual source patterns and the pattern of an array of isotropic point sources, each located at the phase center of individual source having a relative amplitude and phase. So the field values will be multiplied and the phase values will be added. So if we have an array of non-isotropic sources, point sources, then the total field capital E can be obtained by multiplying the field pattern and multiplying that parameter with the addition of phase pattern. That is, we can write E is equal to EI theta comma phi multiplied by EA theta comma phi, which is the multiplication of the field patterns, where EI of theta comma phi is the field pattern of the individual source and EA of theta comma phi is the field pattern of array of isotropic point source, where theta and phi are the polar and the azimuth angle. So this multiplication of the field pattern, this term is multiplied by EPI of theta comma phi into EPA of theta comma phi, where EPI is the, so here I indicates the individual source and A indicates that array of point source. So EPI of theta comma phi is the phase pattern of the individual source and EPA of theta comma phi is the phase pattern of the array of isotropic point source. So basically multiplication pattern is used for easily calculating the total field pattern just by viewing the number of sources available in an array. So field pattern has to be multiplied and that parameter has to be multiplied by the added version of phase pattern. So the principle, the basic concept of pattern multiplication provides a speedy method for drawing or plotting the radiation pattern of a complicated array just by viewing or inspecting the array of antenna. So the width of the principal lobe, that is the width between the nulls, and the corresponding width of the array pattern will be the same. The secondary lobes are determined from the number of nulls in the resultant pattern. In the resultant pattern, the number of nulls are the sum of the nulls of individual pattern and the array pattern. So now for an example, let us try to plot the radiation pattern of two typical cases. First one is a radiation pattern of 4 isotropic elements fed in phase spaced half wavelength. And second case, we will consider a radiation pattern of 8 isotropic elements fed in phase spaced lambda by 2 apart, that is half wavelength apart. So So first case, let us consider 4 isotropic elements represented by 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the diagram, spaced lambda by 2 apart, which is represented by D, where D is equal to lambda by 2, and the total phase angle between them is 0, so alpha is equal to 0, and we are trying to find the total field at the distant point P. So let us find the total field using the concept of pattern multiplication. So the first two elements, let us consider them as a single unit. That is that one unit is going to have two element array, and 3 and 4 can be considered as another unit placed between the two elements. So thus the 4 elements space lambda by 2 has been replaced by 2 elements. You can see the diagrammatic representation. 1 and 2 is combined to form one unit. 3 and 4 is combined to form one unit, which is spaced at distance lambda by 2. So using pattern multiplication, the resultant radiation pattern of 4 element is obtained by multiplying the radiation pattern of the individual element and the array of 2 units spaced lambda by 4. So in this diagram, this point, this area corresponds to the array of group pattern, and this is the individual pattern. Individual pattern means individually we are considering each unit to have two isotropic arrays spaced at a distance lambda by 2, for which we know the radiation pattern is going to be a dognet shape, that is this pattern, individual pattern. And if you have two units which are spaced at lambda, then this second diagram is the radiation pattern. So combining these two, we can get the total field pattern, which is 8 pattern with 4 side lobes. So we should know the individual pattern and the group pattern. Multiplying them, we will get the total pattern. Moving on to the next case, considering 8 isotropic sources. So in previous case we had only 4, so each unit had 2 elements. Now we have 8 isotropic elements. So each unit will have 4 isotropic elements. So the first 4 isotropic element is going to form one unit. Sources from 5 to 8 is going to form another unit. These two units are spaced at a distance 2 lambda. So we need to know the group pattern spaced at 2 lambda distance, so that radiation pattern of isotropic radiator spaced at 2 lambda is given by this diagram. So this will be the group pattern, and we already know the radiation pattern of 4 element array, which is the 8 pattern, that is dognet shaped pattern with 4 side lobes. Okay, so that diagram and this diagram will be multiplied to get the overall field, which can be seen here. So when you see this diagram here, this is the unit pattern for 4 individual. We know, we calculated that in case 1, where we have a dognet shape with 4 side lobes. This multiplied by the group pattern, which is spaced at 2 lambda. So multiplying these two diagrams will get this dognet shape with the more number of side lobes. So basically we already know that as the number of elements in the array increases, the side lobes will increase. The same concept has come here. So basically pattern multiplication is used to draw the pattern just by viewing the antenna array. So next topic is the array of non-uniform amplitudes. So till now we have seen the array is fed with uniform amplitudes. So the disadvantage of applying uniform amplitude is as the number of element increases in the array, the side lobe is going to increase. So there are many applications which require that 0 side lobe. So for such applications we have to go for non-uniform amplitude input, which will reduce or eliminate the side lobe amplitude, but at the cost of directivity. That means the directivity value is going to decrease, or we can say that half power beam width value will be increased. So in non-uniform amplitudes, example that we are going to consider is a binomial array. So in this, the amplitude of the radiating source are arranged according to the coefficients of successive terms of the following binomial series, which is given by a plus b power n minus 1 is equal to a power n minus 1 plus n minus 1 1 factorial a power n minus 2 into b plus n minus 1 into n minus 2 by 1 factorial a power n minus 3 b square plus etc. Here n is the number of radiating source, and this binomial array was proposed by a scientist named Johnstone in the year 1929. Basically, in this binomial array, the amplitude is going to be non-uniform. That is, the center components will be applied with more amplitude compared to the remaining elements in the array. So this is mainly used for applications where the secondary lobe is has to be completely eliminated. So the secondary lobe can be eliminated by using binomial array if we follow the following two conditions. Number one, the spacing between the radiating source should not exceed lambda by 2, and the current amplitude in radiating source should be in such a way that it follows a binomial series given by the above expression. So here we can see already I gave you the expression for the binomial series. In that expression, when we substitute n is equal to 1, 2, 3 and 4, we will get these relative amplitude. So from this relative amplitude, you can see that the amplitude of the first element and last element is always 1. And as the value of n increases, the amplitude at the center portion is going on increasing. So we can easily remember this amplitudes for different elements using what is called as Pascal's triangle. So these coefficients for any number of radiating sources can be obtained by Pascal's triangle, in which the internal integer leaving the side integer is the sum of the above adjacent. So here you can see if n is equal to 1, the amplitude is 1. If n is equal to 2, you have two elements, both will have 1. If n is equal to 3, you have 3 elements. Always the first and the last element will be 1, and the middle element will be the internal integer, will be the summation of the above 2. So 1 plus 1 is giving 2 here. So if n is equal to 4, you will have 4 components where the first and last will be 1. So the second element will have the amplitude 1 plus 2, which is 3. The third element will have the amplitude 2 plus 1, which is again 3. If n is equal to 5, the first and the last element will have the amplitude 1. The second element will have the summation of these two. 1 plus 3, 4. 3 plus 3, 6. 3 plus 1, 4. Similarly, 4 plus 1, 5. 6 plus 4, 10. 6 plus 4, 10. 1 plus 4, 5. 5 plus 1, 6. 10 plus 5, 15. 10 plus 10, 20. 5 plus 10, 15. 1 plus 5, 6. So like this we can easily remember the magnitudes of each and every element of a binomial array by following this Pascal's triangle. So the diameter of the secondary lobe takes place at the cost of directivity. So here you can see the diagrammatic representation of uniform array, binomial array. Optimum value is 27, where the half power beamwidth is 27. And for a binomial array it is 31 degrees, and for a uniform array, that is for the end fire and the broadside array, the half power value is 23 degrees. So what is the observation we can make? In the uniform array we have a higher directivity. Whenever we have a lower half power beamwidth, the directivity is high. Okay, so we have a higher directivity, but we have a disadvantage that it is having a secondary lobe. In the second case, that is binomial array, where non-uniform amplitude is used, you can see that the side lobes is completely eliminated, but the radiation pattern has become broader. That means the directivity has reduced and the half power point has increased to 31 degrees. So the Binomial array provides or eliminates the secondary lobe at the cost of directivity. So moving on to the disadvantages of binomial array. Half power beamwidth is increasing, hence the directivity is decreased, and for a design of large array, larger amplitude ratio of sources required. Thank you.